Ow. What's up, everyone? Punchy back with Higurashi When They Cry, Chapter 2, What's Nagashi. And man, what a previous episode. We are about to continue Chapter 9. Last time we were on the phone with Shion. We told her about the mayor, or confirmed her about the mayor. Found out the mayor was her Rika, where she told him what happened and he disappeared. Now she's panicking. Now Punchy's panicking because he realizes that, well, he told Rika, and she might be missing. So at the end of Chapter 9, Punchy told Shion he was going to go check on Rika. She's like, go ahead, sure. And let's see what Punchy finds, shall we? Continue. After hanging up on Shion, I searched for Rika-chan's phone number on my school's contact list. There it is. My fingers trembled with urgency, and I failed multiple times to put in the simple 5-digit number. 5? That's a weird phone number. Punchy, are you calling someone at this hour? It's late, and it's being rude to the other person. That doesn't matter right now. I shouted angrily at my mother, listening to the dial tone. Pick up. Come on, pick up. I thought that was our phone ringing. The time was 11 p.m. It certainly wasn't early. It was essentially the middle of the night. Had Rika-chan already gone to bed? Her phone would be ringing constantly, though, so would she get back up from me? Rika-chan didn't pick up. She didn't pick up. She didn't pick up! Maybe she just happened to miss it. Maybe her bed was just too far away from the phone. The sound of a phone ring gets clearer and clearer the longer you go on sleeping. Then, the bathroom? Yeah, she must be taking a bath. If that was the case, then even if she heard the phone, she wouldn't be able to pick up. It was a little late to be taking a bath, but it was possible. She knew I took baths right before going to bed. I'll wait 30 minutes and try calling again. Oof. This is like a tough Punchy I never thought about. I never thought happened to him. Even as I was thinking that, I called her house over and over again. I kept calling. Over and over. Again and again. And I kept on calling her, but she didn't pick up even once. I think I kept trying for about 30 minutes. Yet, she wasn't picking up. Were my phone calls so persistent that she'd gotten scared of picking up the receiver? No, that couldn't possibly be it. Well, it is a little creepy. Even you have good intentions, Punchy. There was no point in doing this any longer. The best thing to do would be to go there in person. Where was Rika-chan's house, though? Shit, I've never even asked her where she lived. Her residence was written there in the contact list, but it was an address with mostly numbers, so I couldn't tell where it was just by reading it. Isn't there a map or something here? Rika Fude. Her last name was Furude. It was a bit of an odd last name, so it might be easy to find. Thinking that, I rummaged through the drawer with a phone book, and could only find things like takeout menus and phone numbers for public establishments. Shit! I tore one thing after another out of the drawer, but I didn't come up with any clues to where Rika-chan's house was. Calm down, Punchy Maribara. If you don't know, then just ask. Ask someone who does know. Ooh, who are calling? That's it. Rena's got to know. Oh god. Not a good feeling. I looked up Rena's phone number on the contact list. Rena Ryugu. There she was. Hello? This is Ryugu. It was the voice of a grumpy-sounding man. He must have been Rena's father. I'm calling in the middle of the night. I need to be polite. I'm sorry for calling so late at night. This is Maribara. Is there any chance Rena-san is around? Rena is taking a bath. Oh, she's done? Rena. Oh, it's spelled Reina here. Interesting. There's a friend of yours on the phone. I think I remember something like that in the very beginning. Oh, right. Reina Ryugu was her real name, wasn't it? I kinda used to be calling her Rena. That hearing her real name caught me a little off guard. I remember having a lot of trouble with this before. Hello? This is Rena. It's me, Punchy. Sorry for calling so late. Huh? Punchy-kun? What do you need at a time like this? Well, actually, I want to know where Rika-chan's house is. Rena seemed a little appalled I'd call her something like that at this hour. Oh, this went horribly in a different direction. However, she spoke her next words seriously, as if she caught in how urgent my need was. Oh, okay. Sure. You know the assembly hall on the grounds of the Furuta Shrine? There's a 2-story shack used for storage behind it. That's where she lives. I couldn't immediately visualize the place, but as long as I knew she lived on the shrine grounds, I just have to look around. Got it. Thanks. Sorry again for calling so late. Apologize to your dad for me too, would you? Okay, but Punchy-kun, why do you want to know where Rika-chan lives? Rena asked this in an unusually sharp way, halting before I could hang up the phone. I hesitated for a moment about whether to tell her. He was killed because I told him. Punchy-kun? If you're still listening, could you answer me? Are you asking where Rika-chan lives? Why are you asking where Rika-chan lives at a time like this? Rena affected her usual tone. Beneath her words lay a certain tension, like she had intuitively sensed something was going on. What will you do, Punchy? If it's Rena, can't I tell her? He was killed because he found out. I revealed everything, so he was killed. This is a different direction. I mean, unless Rena's part of it, but if we're going by how Punchy's thinking, then it's more like... I don't know, it seems more like it's just Mion, but... we know Rena has the ability... Not the ability, the possibility of going cursey. Punchy-kun! Rena's being serious. Please answer me. Rena asked once again, in a tone so forceful I couldn't imagine her ever using it normally. I was taken aback by her vigor. Rena was Rika-chan's friend too. She had the right to be concerned about Rika-chan disappearing. If I told Rena, then, even if only for a moment, I could drive away my horrifying fears. Rena? Well, I can't exactly tell you why, but... Yes? Rena's tone was seriousness itself. Just from that tone, I could feel her saying, "No matter what you say, Punchy-kun, I'll believe you." That subtle sense of security gave me the courage to reveal the truth. I have a feeling that Rika-chan is in danger. You mean like a premonition? Or do you have some reason to believe she's in danger? I really didn't have time to go back and forth with Rena about this. Still, I think listening to her calm voice soothed my pointless impatience. I don't have much reason, but yet I still hesitated. I had told Rika-chan that we had snuck into the ritual storehouse. The mayor to whom she had confessed before that had already disappeared. So, it was possible that Rika-chan also. I didn't know how to explain it to Rena. While I was tongue-tied, Rena spoke up. Sorry for asking something so weird. I thought about it, and it isn't like you need to be sure. Oh. Rena laughed a little, seeming a bit absent-minded. I wasn't exactly in the mood to laugh, so this time I was dumbfounded. Rena continued in a cheerful, yet still purposeful voice. You're worried about a friend. I don't think you need a reason to go and check on them. Even if Rika-chan was asleep, you ended up waking her up. If that was really why you did it, then none of us would get mad. Rena, thank you. Okay then, Punchy-kun, just one thing. You called Rika-chan's house, right? Then you couldn't get through, so that's why you asked me where her house is? Yeah, that's right. I must have called her for over 10 minutes. She could just be sleeping and not have noticed. Rika-chan's house is really small. She would definitely hear the phone ring even if she was asleep. Satoko-chan is there too, so there's no way neither of them would notice. Huh? Satoko? You mean she's living with Rika-chan? Yeah. You didn't know? Well, we can talk about that later. Anyway, if you called that much and no one answered, then something's definitely wrong. Rena understood the situation wasn't normal far faster than I could have ever imagined her to. It made her seem dependable. However, the fact that Rena had acknowledged this also meant that the best case possibility of it all just being the result of my own needless fears went out the window. I'll go to Rika-chan's house right now. Will you come with me? I can show you the way. Sounds good. Let's meet up the same place as usual. I'll be waiting for you. No, wait. I'll come get you at your house. You just wait there. And I'll tell your family you come with me to Rika-chan's house, okay? Will that be okay? We might lose time if you come here. Did you call Mi-chan too? She's really dependable at times like these. If you haven't, then I'll give her a call. My thoughts froze for a moment. Uh-oh. Shion had just told me to be careful on Mian during our phone conversation a little while ago. If the Sonozaki main house was somehow lurking behind the surface of the annual freak deaths, then the current heir to the family Mian wouldn't be uninvolved. So, wouldn't that mean she wasn't uninvolved in what happened this year to Takama-san and Tomitake-san, and also the mayor's disappearance? Well, actually, we know that she's not, right? I mean, Punchy doesn't, obviously, but I think we do. Okay, bye. I'll be right over. Wait for me. That's all Rena said before hurriedly hanging up. Now wasn't the time to be doubting Mian. I needed to make sure Rika-chan was safe. I got changed and grabbed the key to my bike. I figured things would go more smoothly if we met up in the place we usually do before school. Rena wouldn't need to come all the way to my house. My parents would probably have objected if I told them I was leaving, so I creeped out without a word. The night was unusually warm and disagreeably humid. Uh-oh. Continue not having good feeling. She said that Rika-chan and Satoko lived together, right? Then it was only Rika-chan. Satoko wasn't there either. Oh. Must have really been panicking to not notice that. Realizing what them living together really meant caused my thoughts to immediately take a turn for the worse. That can't be. Satoko is... She's got nothing to do with any of this. Even if there was a reason for Rika-chan to disappear, there shouldn't be one for Satoko. Punchy-kun! Ren was really fast. She approached me on her bike at an amazing speed. Her breath was ragged, painting a clear picture of just how hurriedly she'd been going. Hey Rena, let's get going. Punchy-kun, I thought I told you to wait at your house. Rena's expression was all business. Was she mad? It came out of the blue. I faltered for a moment. Well, I just figured it'd be faster to meet up here. Punchy-kun, don't you get it? Oh, Jesus. The scratching, the violin. Rena shouted, clearly angry. I'd never seen Rena like this before. Do I get it? What's the problem? Rena seemed to know she was scaring me too, so she was scaring me. Took a couple of deep breaths, and continued as if admonishing me, but her expression didn't soften at all. Punchy-kun, the whole village is in an uproar now that the elder disappeared, right? Yeah? Now you're telling me that Rika-chan and Satoko-chan aren't where they're supposed to be, right? Yeah. That about sums it up. They need to be more careful. Do you have any idea how dangerous it is to be standing out here alone in the middle of the night? I began to understand where Rena's anger was coming from. You told your family you'd be going to Rika-chan's house with me, didn't you? So that in the worst case scenario, if you and I would disappear, people would know when and where we did. Rena was perfectly level-headed in this emergency situation. Ever since the night of the Watanagashi, every night someone had died or disappeared. On the night itself, Takano-san and Tomitake-san met strange ends. On the next night, the elder vanished. Now on the next night after that, Rika-chan and Satoko were nowhere to be found. I hadn't been thinking of anyone but myself, but it wasn't enough to say that Hinamizawa was a little weird at the moment. It was, in fact, extremely strange. Rena had anticipated our own disappearances, and told me to tell my family where I was going. I was embarrassed at my own carelessness, and the need to be embarrassed made me afraid of the night. Sorry, I didn't tell them yet. Okay, then let's go tell them together. With Rena beside me, I wheeled back to my house. This is such a weird turn. The moon seemed strangely high in the sky. A sky that was uselessly vast and cold. So that no matter what, it would never seem to me like a dream. This cruel fact had already confronted me. On such a crazy night, Rena had been unimaginably dependable. Hinamizawa's metamorphosis, enough to make Rena caution me against carelessness, was, to me, the most fearsome thing of all. The moon seemed strangely high in the sky. He met up with Mian on the way, and she of course was unsure whether to believe me about Rika-chan and Satoko's disappearance. Punchy-chan, are you serious? I'm going to get really mad if this is a joke. Mian was clearly displeased. If this were a joke, it wasn't very funny. I understood how indiscreet my words were. Ever since the day before yesterday, someone had either died or vanished every night. Rika-chan and Satoko disappearing after all that was something you couldn't just say, even in jest. Mi-chan, if it really is a joke, then don't get mad, smile. It will be a joke after all. We need to make sure whether it's a joke or not. You're right. Sorry for getting upset. However indiscreet a joke it may have been, if you learned that our friends were safe, it would end up nothing more than a funny story. Having been warned about that by Rena, Mian gave a dry smile, the tension she felt loosening a bit. She mounted her bicycle as well. Our three bicycles' lights flashed down the pitch black roads. They were some of the only illumination outside. This moon was high in the sky. Punchy-chan, why did you suddenly decide to call and ask about Rika's-chan's house at a time like this? Mian asked me the same thing that I had trouble explaining to Rena. Would it be weird to call it a premonition? I couldn't quite tell because it was dark, but I thought I could see Mian smiling very ambiguously. I definitely understood that she wasn't convinced though, despite the darkness. Well, I had this bad dream while I was snoozing, and I couldn't get it out of my head. So, did Rika-chan get kidnapped in the dream? Well, it was more of a vague feeling sort of thing. If Rika-chan had answered the phone, I would have called you and Ren after that. Lies smoothly babbled out of my mouth, makeshift though they were. I was lying because I thought telling them I was connected to Shion, who would be silently admitting we'd stolen into the ritual storehouse together that night. Mian didn't press me any further. I don't know whether that convinced her. Or maybe she'd figured that making sure Rika-chan and Satoko were safe would be faster than making an issue out of it. I felt relieved and immediately a little guilty. I wonder if Ren is our ally this time. I thought things would be really similar, but I don't know. Mian hadn't really acted any differently these last few days, but I'm still trying to distance myself from her for some reason. It's only because of what I heard from Shion and Oishi-san. She was the successor to this kind of super extravagant gang family. No. Was I just trying to force myself to forget? Don't do that, Punchy Maribara. Wasn't Mian who was the first to ask about the night of the Watanagashi? In such a harsh tone at that. Have I already forgotten the terror I felt? At the time, Mian looked like someone different from the Mian I knew. When I think about that Mian, then Shion and Oishi-san's description of Mian made a tiny bit more sense. That's it, isn't it? If it wasn't for how she acted that day, then I wouldn't be feeling this way towards her now. What on earth was going on with her back then? I was conveniently thinking only of everything she had done after that, while disregarding the very first thing, the thing I should have been looking at the most, wasn't I? Mian was pedaling her bike in front of me, her long hair fluttering in the wind. No matter how long I looked at her back, it never gave me answers to any of my questions. We went all the way to the stone steps leading up to the shrine grounds. Did we go to my house? Of course, we weren't going to want to haul our bikes up there. We parked them beside the staircase instead. So this is the Furuta Shrine. Everybody comes and goes as they please, as if it were a park, but this place is actually a grand estate owned by the Furuta family. So the entire shrine is private property. It really makes you feel the passage of time. 10 or 20 years ago, it would have looked the exact same. Then wouldn't that mean that the Furuta family is really old? With the history going back for generations? Yeah, they're gone. That's odd. Rena said something clearly disquieting, so I ran over to her. What's wrong, Rena? Rika-chan and Satoko-chan always leave their bicycles here. See? They're gone. I took a look around. Indeed, there were no other bicycles aside from the ones we'd taken to get there. Couldn't they have parked them somewhere else? Could they have brought them up the stairs? What was that? A play button? Just as she said, I couldn't imagine Rika-chan and Satoko lugging their bikes all the way up there. We hadn't yet knocked on Rika-chan's door, but reality already sparked some ideas that weren't what you'd call good. Maybe they were just parked under some trees, and we hadn't noticed them. I refused to believe that not being able to find their bikes here was proof that they disappeared. Let's go. The only way to be sure is to check their house. We all nodded and dashed up the stone steps. We passed through the red arch and came out into the shrine grounds, which was covered in neat gravel. It was so quiet here, as though the Wachanagashi festival had never happened. So where's the house they live in? Over here. Come with me. Ren took the lead and sprinted off. We went towards the assembly hall behind the shrine, then looped around behind it. In the darkness of the night, we found a small, prefab two-story shack that looked like the warehouse. The lights are off. Are they sleeping? Let's knock. Ren and me near the shack, which didn't really look like a place people would live. They had such a beautiful shrine, so I'd figured they'd live in an equally beautiful house. Yeah, this is weird, if they are in an old family. But the note did say that they lost their power. It was far from what I had expected. Rika-chan! Satoko-chan! Are you there? Rika shouted up towards the second floor. Her voice was restrained at first, but it steadily grew louder. No answer. In fact, there wasn't any sort of activity in the house at all. They might be sleeping. Let's wake them up. Mian banged the shutter with both hands, and the loud sounds echoed in our surroundings. They would have to notice this much noise. They would turn on a light in their room, fling open the windows and yell, "What time do you think it is?" That, however, wasn't happening. There was absolutely no response. Mian stopped slapping her fist on the shutter, and a sudden silence fell over us. The silence aroused terrible thoughts in us. I could feel the blood draining from my face. It's locked. I wonder if we can get in somehow. Rena showed no signs of stopping. It didn't look like she would admit they weren't there until we went inside and saw for ourselves. That's how I feel too. That refusal to give in gave me strength. The second story windows wouldn't be locked. I'll give them a try. Punchy, a ladder. Mian brought over a ladder that was standing against the house. The footing was a little unstable for me to be climbing it, but Mian held the ladder firmly in place for me. I hadn't climbed too many ladders. My inexperience with them exposed, I climbed one step at a time and tried to open each window on the second floor. Michan, I'm going to go check the main house just to be sure, okay? I'll be right back. Rena darted away. What? A main house? It's the Furuta family's actual house. After her parents passed away, I think it's been left like that. Ah, right. Rika-chan's parents, they passed away, huh? At that point, I recalled something else. Wasn't Satoko living here too? Satoko's also an orphan. Her parents fell from a cliff because of Oyashiro-sama's curse. Then her older brother Satoshi-kun, he disappeared. Satoshi? I've heard that name before. I remembered. He was the only one who disappeared last year because of the curse. Ever since then, Satoko and Rika-chan have been living in this shack. Neither of them has any family, but at least they're together. They help each other out. Rena said main house, didn't she? Wouldn't it be easier to live there? The curtains were drawn so I couldn't get a good look inside and see, but two young girls living together seemed like a pretty tough life. I think she tried that at first. She said that it was hard though, because it reminded her of her parents. I had no idea. I feel really bad for them. They were normally so cheerful at school that I never even realized an atom of this. What a weird phrase. Rika-chan and Satoko-chan, they have it hard, huh? Oh, no, stop the music.
She's cursed.
Huh? Suddenly Mian said something in such a low voice that it sounded like she was really cursing someone, and I didn't let it slide. Oh! Oh, we're backing up. I turned around on the ladder to face her and asked again, Mian, what did you say? I said she's cursed. Mian, still holding onto the ladder, brought her head to look me in the eyes. No. As soon as our eyes met, an absolute zero jolt of electricity surged through my body. Oh! That's new. Okay, Mian's eyes clouded over, and within them boiled and bubbled like a stew of chaos. They whirled around and around like a raging sea, and bubbles floated to the surface. I had, at some point, been trapped on this ladder, like being cornered on a dead-end street. Mian, why are you making that face? I intend to follow that up with, you're going too far with this joke, and give her a forced smile. However, on such uneven footing as I was, the only thing that came out of my mouth was a hoarse groan as I desperately struggled to not let the nausea overwhelm me. Satoko Hoju. She's been cursed by Oyashiro-sama. Mian's answers with the response to something I never asked, as replying to someone else's question. The only people who fell from the park observation platform were her parents. Only her parents who treated her like dirt, died that day. She was the only one to survive. Then she was sent to live with her aunt, who treated her cruelly, and that aunt was killed on the night of the Watanagashi by some deviant, who beat her to death so violently her brains were everywhere in her head, and an entirely different shape by the end of it. We're getting over, but I want to... Jeez. Then Satoshi-kun, who always protected her, he suddenly disappeared on her birthday. Someone made him disappear, even though he wasn't abusing her. Okay, we're gonna stop there. I was just waiting. I wanted to stop earlier, but I was just waiting for the eyes to lead, because when I edit, I didn't want it to be the last image that I was gonna see. Oh shit. It went in a different direction, and it totally... Ooh. Never seen those eyes. I mean, I'm scared of eyes, as you can probably tell. That's why I'm scared to see, like, the glazed over look that they get when they're in curse form, but this is something different. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed watching this. Please like and subscribe. And like I said last video, it really is not getting any better. Good night, and bye-bye.